Welcome back to another episode of Raising the Curtain, a Bloomington Normal Theater podcast with Ashley Raylin. On today's episode, we will be interviewing Don Shandrow. Please be advised that this episode does contain sensitive subject matter. Hi, Don. How are you?
Hi, Ashley. I'm great. How about you?
Oh, I'm good. So I am here with Don Shandrow. Tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, and what you do with Coalescence.
Me personally?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have my Bachelor in Fine Arts degree in performance from Pacific Lutheran University in Tacoma, Washington. And then I came to Illinois State University where I got my master's degree, and that's why I'm here in this community. And I just ended up staying.
So tell me a little bit about Coalescence. Because you're the founder, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about it. What brought Coalescence to fruition?
Well, I am one of those people that asks why. And for some reason, I have to have an answer. And one day I was standing up during intermission at a theater, and I looked around at the audience, and I saw almost solely one demographic. And I said, why? The point of Coalescence, and it had morphed from another theater company into Coalescence a few years ago, but this was about, oh my goodness, it was 2010. I looked around and again, I asked the question, why? And so starting the theater was an attempt to ask, why is the audience so homogenous? Mm-hmm. And to find a way to create an audience that reflected the community. And that's not just done by throwing faces on stage.
No, absolutely not.
Because what happens at that point is you keep your same audience, and they just feel good that they've come to see the performance with other faces on stage. Mm-hmm. My feeling is that it started with leadership. I am not the sole leader of Coalescence, and the leadership is diverse. It starts with the leadership, and then that morphed into the mission of the theater company. And the mission of the theater company, and in fact, I'm going to pull it up because
we don't want to misquote anything.
I don't want to misquote my own mission.
Right?
Our mission is to utilize theater to understand, acknowledge, and dismantle all forms of systemic oppression as we explore identity and our place in a global community. What I had done during COVID, when after George Floyd, diversity, equity, and inclusion mm-hmm. became catchwords, became marketing words for companies. Even Black Lives Matter became. And what I did is I purged the mission statement of any of those words. In fact, I don't think you're going to find diversity, equity, or inclusion, those specific words used. The intent, the heart of those words is there.
Yeah.
But the words themselves, because they have been so degraded by misuse, we have changed a lot of the language that we use to describe who we are and what we do. We are an itinerant theater company. Mm-hmm. We have no physical home. And in some ways, that's been a good thing. If I tell you what I'm going through right now with the renting lighting equipment. Yeah, it's. I'll tell you, I've been thinking, well, maybe it would have been nice to have a physical facility.
Sure.
Yeah, but the mission, I think, is one that's clear. Out of that mission, we decided that we would only concentrate on playwrights that were women, members of the LGBTQIA plus community, mm-hmm. and the BIPOC community. We've done a couple festivals. One is our Voices of Pride and Black Voices Matter Festival. And at both festivals, we've had people at the Voices of Pride Festival, uh, I've had people say, well, these stories could be about a heterosexual couple. And I go, okay.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah. And it's good that you see that, or that their expectation is that they see more stories about violence and I'm going, well, not necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
These were submissions that we received from that community. In our Black Voices Matter festival, I'm confusing it with our Black Lives, Black Words, which is a festival that we connect with another organization.
Cool.
But our Black Voices Matter festival, same thing happened. There was somebody in the audience who said, well, this could be about a white family. This could be about, and it's like, it's about family.
So you are the founder, but you did say that you're not the sole person in control of the organization.
No. And let's, I really want to be clear about this, mm-hmm. is that I don't feel that I hold any magic,
there's no magic wand or anything.
No magic wand. And the thing is, I need people's help. And that, I think, is the most important thing that I can do, is mm-hmm. I can say, please, I need your help. Come in. I need your ideas. I need your input. I've got a number of people now that want to be part of a play reading, the play reading committee for us. And we've got some relationships that are really exciting. Mm-hmm. I was looking at a play called Panther Women. Mm-hmm. It's a Korea poem about the women of the Black Panther movement in the 1960s and 1970s. Cool. And I was looking for a copy of the play and getting ready to get in touch with the playwright, mm-hmm. when a member of our playwright advisory board contacted me and said, you need to talk to a mentee of mine. She's a director at a theater. She has her own theater company in South Side of Chicago. Okay. And you need to get in touch with her. She's directed this play, and you need to go up and see it. And I said, what's the play? She said, Panther Women. So I went and I saw Panther Women. I talked to Maisha Tierra, who mm-hmm. is the artistic director of Perceptions Theater up in Chicago. And we're going to be bringing her down to direct a production of Panther Women down here next year with a local cast. Mm-hmm. So she'll be casting the show down here. She seems not to mind driving the distance from Chicago. Mm-hmm. She says she drives that distance all the time, just getting across Chicago.
I mean, if it's a quality show, I'd make that commute. Yeah, honestly.
And she believes, because we have somebody on our playwright advisory board. This is, again, the whole idea of asking for help. If we've done a play before and we've liked working with that playwright, and that playwright believes in what we are doing, we'll invite that playwright to be on our playwright advisory board. That's one of the reasons for having a playwright advisory board. This woman, Cherie Salem, is from the East Coast. Mm-hmm. She's from Connecticut. She has her own theater company out there. But the thing is, what it does is it allows us not to be so insular. We're informed solely by this community. There's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, I think that there's something to be said for reaching out farther and listening to other voices. But Charisse was really kind enough to do the introduction. Maisha, I've gone up to Chicago. I've met with her. Playwright is excited about the whole process mm-hmm. as well, and we're excited about doing something that's a little bit different than we've done before. It's going to cost us a little bit of extra money, but the thing is, we'll find a way to make it work. We'll figure it out as we go along.
Exactly.
But the thing is, I want to kind of upgrade what we do, mm-hmm. and that's one way of doing it. What I don't think people understand and realize right now in Chicago, there's a renaissance of theater in the South Side of Chicago. Mm-hmm. And there are a number of storefront theaters popping up. Maisha's theater, every time I hear she wins an award, I keep thinking, is she going to ask us for more money? But the thing is, she and India, who is the playwright, are on a kind of upward curve on their careers. This is exciting for us to bring them in and also give the community a taste of something that is going on in Chicago.
Right. So you have a playwriting committee. Are you guys coordinated by like a board of directors? Is it just kind of volunteers?
We have a board of directors. The board of directors is there to handle the operations and policy. Mm-hmm. And we've had some policy changes because we make mistakes.
Sure.
And then we say, well, maybe there needs to be a policy to cover that. And what I like about the board is that there's no blame. It's a matter of, okay, this is what's happened. What do we do next? What do we do to ameliorate that in the future for a better theater company, for a better operation? And that's kind of exciting. But this whole next year is going to be a season of female playwrights, and we've got some exciting shows that we're working on. And forgive me if I don't have the playwrights in front of me, but one of them is a play called Hashtag Not a Cult.
I've heard of that.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of that.
Oh, how very cool! It is such a funny play. It's if people don't think we do comedies, yes, we do comedies.
Yes.
It's about a woman who accidentally creates a cult, and this is kind of a mockumentary on her creation of that cult. It's a fun play.
That's cool.
And it's an empowering play too.
It's
not a joke at the expense of these women. It's a very empowering play as well. Dr. Voynich and Her Children, which is a play about a dystopian future, where you have a transgender woman and her mentee, for lack of a better word, her helper, who travel from town to town. They have a cart that sells herbs, and they provide at this time what are illegal abortions. And because abortion has been totally outlawed.
Oh goodness,
and
that's intense.
It is, but it's handled in a really sensitive way.
Okay.
And we're going to handle topics that sometimes people are not comfortable with, because people are writing about things that people are not comfortable with.
To me, at least, that's what theater's about, like talking about the stuff that nobody wants to talk about and bringing it to light, because these are people's lives and people are going through this.
And even if I'm looking at a comedy, when we worked on Airness, I usually spend the whole week when I direct a show in just table read and just talking about the play, talking about the characters.
That is so beneficial.
Absolutely. And to me, it's a necessary part of the rehearsal process, because then the actors know that what we're doing is really looking for the layers and the levels of the characters. And Airness is about an air guitar competition.
Which is just fun.
Which is fun, and on the surface, it's very fun. But then you see how important it is to these people, and how their lives are impacted by this sport, and what this sport means to them, and how they create a family around that sport. And then it takes on all kinds of layers and levels, and it becomes a lot more exciting.
I want you to tell me a little bit about the design for Coalescence's logo, because you told me this over the summer, and I just think this is a really cool concept, and I feel like people need to know how you came up with this.
Actually, I worked with the designer, and the designer said, "What are you thinking as far as a colors and concept?" And I said, "Red." The designer said red, because apparently red is not a color that designers really want to work with, because it is so.
It is. It's very in your face.
It is in your face.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I wanted a logo that was kind of in your face. and we talked about the tree of life, and we did a lot of things with what you think of when you think of the tree of
Yeah.
life. But then I did a little bit of research myself, and I found out there was a genetic tree of life. It shows all of the branches of where species come from and how they
Yeah.
they branch out, and I thought it's lovely in itself, but we took the genetic tree of life and created. If you saw the genetic tree of life side by side our logo, you'd see it really means a lot to me, and it gives us something to talk about. The fact that we all really come from one common ancestor, and that is an important point to make. We changed our name in 2018. We produced 2 shows that year as Coalescence Theatre. And then in 2019, I had already done a production of Walking with My Ancestors, Elmira Castle, with Ofariwa Adonam. And I knew that she had done a TED Talk on her experiences in Cape Coast Castle in Ghana, one of the holding prisons that they kept enslaved people into before they were sent on the Middle Passage to North America and South America as well. But she spent time in one of the cells, whole parts of a day shackled in cell, and she did a TED Talk on it. And I talked to her. I said, "Would you consider making this into a one-person play?" And she said yes. And Kim Pereira had helped her with Cape Coast Castle, not Cape Coast, but Elmira Castle, which is another holding area in Ghana. He agreed to assist her in the writing and shaping of the play, and agreed to direct it. And so, what became this idea to do a one-person show, where we were going to take it to a statewide theater competition, ended up taking up our whole year, because not only did we win the state competition with the play, but we went to the regionals, and then we went to the nationals. And of the 12 theaters that were selected, we were the only theater without a facility. We were the only itinerant theater, and we had never done the show. We had never done the show on stage until we did it the first time in the first competition. In fact, most of the rehearsals had been done in Ofariwa's living room. We ended up going to Gettysburg. This was in 2019. What was exciting about all of that is that you had a play written about enslaved people that were heading to this country on the year of the 400th anniversary of slavery, or the first slave coming to North America. A theater company from Illinois, specifically in an area that Abraham Lincoln was located in. And then the finals took place in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, full circle. And we didn't quite do it on Juneteenth. We did it on June 20th, June the 20th. But close enough. Close enough. So the thing is, it was like kind of everything was in alignment.
It worked out a little too perfectly.
It was. And it was a wonderful experience. It was a tiring experience. And it's one of those things that you don't do unless you count your pennies first, because it ends up costing you more than you think it's going to cost you to do it. And we did get a little bit of money from to take it to the nationals, but not near as much as we needed. But the thing is, those kinds of things are important to us, because the thing is, those are what define us. That's why on our website we say we're an award-winning theater. Not only did that help us establish our identity, but it also helped Ofariwa, because then Ofariwa now has her own company called Walking with My
Mm-hmm.
Ancestors, and she takes that play to universities. It was an exciting thing for her. It was an exciting thing for us.
How did COVID impact Coalescence,
Co-
and how is it still impacting, if it still is?
Well, you're a theater that doesn't have a if you're a theater that doesn't have a facility, uh, you you create spaces for performance. We ended up creating a space on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
and we ended up doing 10 virtual productions.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that many.
10 virtual productions and a 10-minute play festival
Mm-hmm.
uh, in that period of time of
Yeah.
COVID. And so we kept busy and kept busy in ways that I didn't never expected. And we had people from across the country that were seeing the production. 2020, we were nominated for an award, a production that we did written by Cherise Salem, and that I had the opportunity of directing. And then just as COVID was ending, I was invited to a festival that's put together by a wonderful friend of ours up in Chicago who heads a Hindi theater. And she was having a theater festival up there, and she invited us to perform a work. And so he said, let's do this. And it's kind of meta doing a performance that was meant for online, but that was really exciting. In fact, we're going to be inviting, at some point in time, we're going to be inviting the theater down as part of what we do. I like partnerships. One of the things that gives us energy and gives me energy even as an artist is partnerships and relationships with other groups, other organizations, so that you make decisions that are based on win-win solutions where you're giving to someone else and someone else is giving to you. The energy comes from a source of cooperation and working together. There have been some times. Have there been some times that I've been disappointed with people that we've worked with who've had that kind of energy? Yeah, but the thing is, I know better. It can't exist if we're Coalescence. It can't exist.
So, how can people get involved with Coalescence? Whether it's auditioning, the board, submitting play suggestions.
Okay, our website is I'm going to test everybody's spelling skills.
No, I love it. I have to question myself every time I write it down. I have it on my little notepad here, and I probably misspelled it.
It was one of those things where when we came up with the name, and I didn't come up with the name all by myself. When we came up with the name, and then we looked it up, looked up domains. It was like, well, there is no Coalescence Theater domain. And then we understood why when you found out that people had a hard time spelling it. COALESCENCE theater with an RE.org. Okay. And you can just tell us anything. If you want to tell us about what you've seen, you can say, I want to volunteer. You can say anything. We don't have one that's specifically for volunteer yet. And you can also see what we're doing. And you know what? My feeling about theater is that people who go to theater should go to theater. It doesn't matter where you're fed. You go to the place that is feeding you next. Mm-hmm. So if you want a different kind of experience, then you come to a Coalescence show. One of the things let me say this. In 2010, when I came up with the idea, and I approached someone from the leadership group here in town. Oh my goodness, can't remember the name of it. But I approached someone here in town, and they said, "You're only where everybody has to be in 10 years." Then the thought became,
"That's interesting."
Well, no, and it's true. What happened is COVID, George Floyd, everything started to change people's perceptions and ideas. And so other theaters started to say, you know what? we need to be more inclusive. We need to start reaching out. And so with Coalescence, it was, okay, this is what we've been doing. What that allows us to do is that allows us to go farther. And so there is no end to our journey. It's just that it's what other theaters do is going to give us permission to go farther and to go deeper and to take people with us on that journey. Because the thing is, if the theaters aren't doing it, then we have to go back and do it. If theaters are doing it, then we can do something. We can go farther. Make sense?
Yeah, taking what the other theaters are doing and seeing how far, I don't want to say how far we can push it, but really seeing that the community is ready for stuff like this.
There's always a why, and there's always a bigger why, and like I said, my life has been filled with that, and with questions of identity, and with questions of, and so those questions are always going to be there, and not everybody is going to be able to take those questions and find the answers as deep as they can, and that's not a bad thing. It is just an is thing. That permission to go deeper, and I think maybe I'm over talking this. The permission that we have to go farther, because we have an audience that will go with us, is going to be one that takes us to places that we may not even know we're heading right now, and that's exciting. And there are so many new works out there that are begging to be done. There's so many new playwrights that are unseen. There are so many new works that have not had any productions at all. There are lots of works that have had maybe one or two productions and then they're tossed aside because everybody likes a world premiere, but they don't necessarily like to pick up a really good play that's been workshopped and really fine-tuned and is begging for a second or third production. So
gotta give the underdogs a chance.
That's it. And so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that. I mean, we do shows that are bound and through a publisher, but the thing is, to me, what's most exciting is getting on the phone with a playwright and talking to the playwright about negotiating terms. And not only, sometimes I'm involved with the agent of the playwright as well. But the thing is, that's exciting stuff. And the contracts that we put together are fair to playwrights and fair to us. Like I said, I'm always thinking win-win. How do both of us walk away from this saying we had the best experience possible? That gets rid of that kind of energy that I was talking about earlier.
Anything else you want people to know about Coalescence that I may have overlooked?
I can't think of anything other than we're a theater company that is concerned both about identity and a global community. When in the early days of all of this, I had someone say, "I'm tired of the white man story," and again, what they meant is they meant the huge amount of plays that were about men going through midlife crisis, and that seemed to be a theme of plays for a good long period of time. And in the midlife crisis, there was always a woman, but the woman was there to kind of assist, and she was younger. She was always younger.
Sure.
Anyway, I'm going off the subject.
No worries. All right, here's my rapid fire. Do
Okay.
you have a favorite play or musical?
A favorite play or musical?
Or one of each.
The favorite play or musical is the one that I'm doing, because the thing is, I have to immerse myself in it. If I'm directing Aranis, Aranis is my favorite
play.
My favorite play. If I'm working on Once on This Island, Once on This Island is my favorite play. Or it's also not only that, it's not only the play that I'm doing now, it's also the plays that I'm thinking
about doing.
Yeah.
That's a great mindset, because then you can really hone in and focus on not only just what's on the surface of those shows, but really delve into it and all of that fun stuff and all of that underneath. I mean, most people know that my big thing is casting, and I really like to find what makes a character tick, but you can do that for a script. What makes that script tick and not just what's on the surface between the pages?
You can ruin a play with bad casting.
Yep.
You know that. I don't have to tell you. Casting is 85%
Yep.
of the process. If you've got the right people in place, and you create as a director, you create the world for them, then they'll live in it, and
Exactly.
they'll discover. I had an actor last night, and I think she said it facetiously. She said, "I know more about this character than you do," and I went, "Yes, you do, and by now you should.
Yeah.
You should, because the thing is, this character is one you've embodied, you've lived in.
Yes.
I've only been an observer, and I've only told you what I've thought about what you've been doing. You've been living this person, and so you own this person now. You own this character, and in ways that I can only watch now and enjoy and appreciate."
So, hypothetical situation, what song are you belting in the car or the shower from a musical? He just got so red.
I know. I'm not. I am not the greatest. My daughter, she has been in musicals.
Yeah.
She was in the National Touring Company of Wicked and the National Touring Company of
You did tell me
Phantom of the
that.
Opera. She always used to tell me that I liked trauma drama.
I'm not going to say I don't.
I was like, no. But we've both come to terms about each of the mediums. Musicals are lovely, and the problem with musicals, if you're an artistic director of a theater company, is that musicals are expensive.
Yes, they are.
And because they're expensive, you just kind of shy away from them unless it's your niche. If it's your niche, if you have if you have a facility, if you have musicals are lovely. I love going to see a good music. But the thing is it a place where Coalescence will live? I don't think so. Once on This Island was that rare musical that absolutely hit our mission statement completely. Now, are there other musicals that are like that? Yeah, there are.
Sure.
There are. I know that they exist. But am I singing the songs in the shower? No.
If you could hype up your organization in one sentence, what is that sentence?
Well, that one sentence has always been to incite people to thoughtful action. And that has been, if I have one bullet point that I give people, that's what we're about. We're about inciting people to thoughtful action. When I came up with that, people said, "Are you sure you want to use the word incite?" And I said, it's a word and it has value. And if you look at what the meaning of the word is, it's taking that negative word and turning it into a positive. And you're inciting something that is positive. Thoughtful action is positive.
All right. Any final words of wisdom?
Oh, I have no more words of wisdom. I have no words of wisdom. But the thing is, I do like talking about theater. Noe and I, Noe Corneo, and I went to Peoria to WMBD, and for a 7 o'clock interview. But the thing is, we had a chance to talk about theater and talk about his role in airness, and we had breakfast and we talked about theater and we talked about airness and his role in airness, and we on our drive back we talked about theater.
Just everything.
The thing is, there's no shortage of things to say about what we do and what we want to do and what we want to accomplish.
I can talk about theater till I'm blue in the face and keep talking.
Yeah.
I know, and I have those moments where I get like so excited about something, I start getting all emotional and start crying because I'm just so excited about something. It's fantastic. What show are you guys doing?
Probably our next show is not going to be until March. We tend to have a later in the year
Yeah.
season. Actually, after stacking everything like we did from spring to fall this year, we need a little bit. The thing is, there's plenty of stuff for us to do. We also bring some people in. There's a wonderful spoken word artist from Springfield, Shatria Smith, and we'll be inviting her to come up and hold some spoken word events. People can come in and bring their own material, and those events we've had two of them already. We had two of them last year. Those events really are exciting. They're exciting to me. I do want to bring Mandy Theater down to do a Hindi a play in Hindi. They asked me. They said, "Well, if you bring us down, do you want us to do a play in English?" And I said, "Do you do plays in English?" And they said, "Well, we can." And I said, "Well, why not do what you just do?" Because the thing is, ultimately, I'll tell you what, I sat through this festival of Indian plays. Some were in Bengali, some were in there's a plethora of language and a plethora of theater that's being done by other theater companies throughout this country. But we're going to be bringing Mandy Theater down here to do a show in Hindi, and I think that it'll be exciting for an English speaking audience to sit
I think
in
so
a show
too.
like that. I know that when I've sat through shows in other languages, I always get something out of it because you always kind of figure out what's going on, and you have a little bit of a synopsis anyway. But the thing is, you can always kind of figure out what's going on.
Right.
You know, when people are going through motions, you can read people.
Yeah. That's acting.
It's acting.
It's acting.
It's acting. And an audience. If you're an audience member, your job is to do the reading. I tell my actors when I rehearse a play, when I'm rehearsing a play, don't ever, if you've ever got a spot in the script that you don't understand, there's a reason that you don't understand that. Don't avoid it. Don't gloss over it to get to the next beat that you
Very
do
valid
understand.
Point. Yeah.
Don't do that, because what you're doing is you may be missing a really key moment in the script. The other thing is that audiences are really forgiving, and the audience will see that jump and they'll go, "Oh, okay," and they'll fill it in themselves.
Yeah.
So audiences are forgiving, but the thing is, I don't want the audiences to do that kind of work. What I want the audiences to be doing is spending their time reading the actors and seeing what's going on in the actor's mind, and because that's what I do.
All right. Well, Don, thank you. I greatly appreciate this. Hopefully this.
Well, this is exciting to be.
I know. Yeah, it'll be good. And then definitely we will keep in touch. And then once whatever your next show is, I can meet with you, some actors, and we can promote some upcoming shows.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And that's really what I want this to be, is have an archive of all the theaters in the area and what we're doing and supporting each other and going to everyone's events. Because I mean, that's what we have to do to make sure it thrives.
It's been something that's been missing here in this community. Part of it is that we just get busy.
Yeah.
As theater artists, and sometimes we'll have these grand designs to get together and meet and discuss, and it's like, well, I know I've got a rehearsal at that time, or I've got something else. We're also
busy.
Yeah, and we're busy with our own theaters.
So, like I said, I really appreciate this, and we will keep in touch.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Don Shandrow, founder of the Coalescence Theatre Project. To learn more about the organization, visit their website, coalescencetheater.org, and be sure to follow along on their social media pages. Next episode will air on December 3rd with the Holiday on Robin Hood Lane director Matt Dratt and producer and playwright Maggie Borkholder, opening at Community Players Theater on December 7th. Thank you for listening to Raising the Curtain with Ashley Raylin, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And as always, support live local theater.